this loads, all these samples get done, could be done after this. Again, just wanted to make it clear that if you're having any trouble with the Stable Diffusion 2 install, go to the comp.biz Stable Diffusion 1 install, and everything is exactly the same. The setup of the code base is exactly the same. The location of the environment, the name, the scripts, the setups, the models are exactly the same. The only thing you have to add is this models folder. It's not included here. Because each model, each file in the scripts folder is going to need its own, each section in the scripts folder is going to need its own set of weights except for the tests. So you do need a set of weights for all of these. You should be able to use the base for the image to image and text to image. This, you want the depth weights and the in-painting weights. And then there's also some depth weights and in-painting weights. So let's get started. First, I'm going to clone this repo. I only see one set of weights. We'll start with that, see how it goes. It shouldn't change anything. Everything should be the same. Yeah. Alright, see if that came out any better. Did not. So with the weights, you want to make sure you go to the Stablityai main page on Hugging Face. So just go to huggingface.co/Stablityai. You want to make sure to install all of these weights and use them according to what, you know, if you're using the upscaler, use the upscaler weights. If you're using in-painting, use the in-painting weights. If you're using image to image, use the Stable Diffusion 2. If you're using text to image, use the 2 base. You could probably use the image to image 2 base. Just kind of use the 2 base for everything. And then use the 2, you know, when you're feeling adventurous. So clone the repo, it's the same old shit. We're just going to clone from the link. Go ahead and paste it in. Hit enter. See what happens. Alright. So let's see what it named it. It also called it Stable Diffusion, no parentheses. So let's just do MV Stable Diffusion, and we'll call it Stable Diffusion and there we go. Now we got V1 and V2. Comparison, let's open up the original Stable Diffusion here. And we can do a little side by side. Okay. It should be roughly the same. Anyway, so the main idea is Xformers on Windows, there's a known error with it. There's something wrong with the build wheel with pip, and the condo library is actually empty. So there's an issue with Xformers on Windows. You can downgrade everything and go with an older version, but Windows, I'm noticing, it has a pretty good partitioning of jobs that it does in the control panel. So I am able to run Stable Diffusion V2 without any additional parameters other than the prompt, and I technically don't need the prompt because there is a default prompt. On Stable Diffusion V1, I do have to reduce the samples down to 2. But that's just on Windows without Xformers. On Linux with Xformers, I have to do no parameter changing for either of them, and they run at about 8 gigabytes instead of the normal 11 to 12. I think it's exactly the same. Find the correct weights that are from Stablityai. Go to their page, as I mentioned before, make sure you get the right weights. really all you should need is the base for image to image and text to image. That should be fine. The 768 doesn't work well with the text to image. It's just too much noise. Maybe it's too big of a photo. I'm not sure. It doesn't work that well. There is no safety checker anymore. It looks like they were trained on a pre-audited data set that's been safened up of some sort. In terms of new features, nothing's really new. I'm hoping this will load so I can show a difference, but I will do a longer comparison video in the future Linux because I got the X warmers there. So you'll see that the difference is it's up to interpretation. I find it looks like on the original Stable Diffusion, it's less graphics, it looks less digital. The images on Stable Diffusion 2 look pretty digital, so combinations of objects look a little bit more out of place than on Stable Diffusion 1, because since the Stable Diffusion 1 puts out more of a painting style, random objects kind of blended in, because it's, I mean, I'm not really much of an artist, so to me it looks blended in because it's all, the color palette is pretty much the same. But when you have a very graphic looking image, and we'll see this in the next video, when things are kind of, random objects are kind of merged in there, it's a lot more jarring. There's some contrast issue or something. It's a lot more noticeable. I do not have all the terminology down, but that's supposedly the point. They didn't put out a perfectly trained model because they want to leave it to the users, so they forego responsibility. So that's just the Windows side. Let's just do a quick comparison. So this is supposed to be cans of beer crossing the Delaware. Didn't really give us much here. Stable Diffusion 2 at least had cans. So, you know, at least it showed up partially. Can't really fault it for that. So you can see, I hope kind of, this is a very poor prompt example, but here it's very much, the painting is more muted, I think is the word. The colors are less contrasting. We're actually getting some pretty good faces on the Stable Diffusion 2, but it's not blowing Stable Diffusion 1 out of the water. And I argue on other prompts that we'll see later, it's actually worse. So it's not noticeably better. It is smaller and it is faster. At least it takes less VRAM and it runs faster than Stable Diffusion 1. There's also a stricter safety checker. So for certain applications, I definitely see Stable Diffusion 2 being significantly better than Stable Diffusion 1. But in terms of the quality of the outputs, I'd say they're roughly the same. And I'd lean towards Stable Diffusion 1 on a lot of the outputs that we will see later.